Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Raylene Marks, your host, and this is day 4 of Israel under fire. As I speak, I can hear the booms of rockets being intercepted as they are sent towards the towns of Rishon LeZion, Palmach, Tel Aviv, Herzliya, and surrounds. This follows rocket barrages on Ashkelon earlier, Beersheba, which is more south, the western Negev, the south just around the border of Gaza, which we call the Gaza containment or Gaza envelope area. And this follows another night of massive barrage of rockets from the south of Israel, the surrounds of the Gaza border, right into just past Herzliya yesterday evening, sending us running into our shelters. I'm in my shelter at the moment. Should a rocket be fired towards Modi'in, where I am, and the sirens go off while this broadcast is happening, I will try and continue. I am in my safe room. But this follows another night of intense rocket attacks on Israel and a massive response from the IDF on significant Hamas infrastructure and targets within the Gaza Strip. Yesterday, a Palestinian NGO announced that at least 2 children had been killed when rockets fired from the Strip landed inside the border of Gaza, killing them. At this juncture, I remind you that the Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and terror entities from within the Strip fire from within their civilian population onto ours. For anybody who wants to understand better how this conflict is playing out, what we are talking about when we target Hamas infrastructure, pinpoint targeting, and how we try to mitigate as many civilian casualties as possible. Please, if you are on Twitter or on Facebook, follow the Israel Defense Forces, the IDF and the IAF. They are showing you the footage and the live updates of what they are doing. Yesterday, 5-year-old Ido Avigal from Sderot was killed when a rocket hit the apartment building where he's living. Unfortunately, the window of his safe room wasn't closed properly and shrapnel managed to get him. And yesterday, a 21-year-old soldier paid with his life, 21-year-old Omer Tabib from the Moshav Eliakim. He paid with his life as anti-tank missiles were shot at Israel, and 3 people were wounded, including him, and unfortunately passed away. The military announced earlier today that later on they possibly will be approving plans for a possible ground incursion. And this is very, very sobering, but as the government has said and has told Egyptian mediators that we are not going to accept ceasefire conditions. We will only accept a full cessation of rocket attacks on Israel. As this is going on, Ben Gurion Airport has rerouted all flights now to Ramon Airport in the south. And just lost my train of thought there for a second. It has been a very, very long night, and our Iron Dome batteries have continued to intercept all these incoming projectiles. At this moment, I just want to address the Iron Dome. We look at it as a technological advance. We look at it in terms of military and technological capability, but we can't forget that there are still battalions of IDF soldiers who have to make sure that these Iron Dome batteries run as they do. And can we just take a minute to thank them and to acknowledge them for the extraordinary job that they are doing, keeping the people of Israel safe. And last night, a night that has made many of us here in Israel feel a mixture of emotions from sickened to ashamed to absolutely shattered and heartbroken. Extreme elements from within the Arab community and extreme elements from within the Jewish community clashed and rioted in cities all over the country. Horrific images coming in from Bat Yam, from Akko, from Haifa, from all over the country. It's something that has woken Israelis up to a very, very sobering thought that we now have an extra threat to worry about coming from the inside. And will the divisions that are here currently in Israel ever be healed? There were attempts to lynch an Arab man. He was beaten. Thank goodness he is in recovery. And earlier today, a Jewish man was stabbed walking in the city of Lod on his way to the synagogue. And please God, may he recover soon as well. The police are overwhelmed, and Benny Gantz, the defense minister, has called in extra battalions of the border police to help the general police. They are there to help maintain calm, but are not going to enforce any kind of military operation there. And earlier, the Hamas have asked or appealed to West Bank-based Palestinians to please rise up against the IDF, to please continue their targeting and their rising against IDF troops present in the West Bank. If I do sound a little bit slurred and repeating and a little bit like I'm mumbling on, I'll ask you to please forgive me. It has been several sleepless nights for us here. We are very, very tense. We are very, very emotionally overwrought, as you can well imagine. This is a very traumatic time for all of the citizens of Israel, as we are sure it is for the citizens of Gaza. We are also overwhelmed by the response internationally. Again, I want to thank the many of you who have sent your well wishes and support to us. It means the world. But we're also being faced with a barrage of hatred against Israel and the Jewish people. It's an old double standard that goes into play. Nobody says anything about Turkey invading Kurdistan or any other kind of military invasion. However, when it comes to Israel, the world is set ablaze. So please allow me to express some of the frustrations and some of the emotions that all of us are feeling in Israel right now. So those are our updates before we head into what will probably be another very difficult few days. We really hope that this will abate for the weekend. It is the festival of Shavuot coming up. And normally I wouldn't broadcast on Monday because of the festival of Shavuot, and depending on the situation on the ground here, we will be bringing you an Israel brief. If it's quiet, we won't. If we have continuation of what's been happening, then we most definitely will keep you updated. But for the weekend, don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online, our Facebook page. If you're watching here at Lottel's site, please share our content. It really, really helps when we're dealing with mainstream media not covering Israel's side. If you could help us with that by sharing this content, like us and follow us. Also, we are on Twitter at layoftheland5. You can tweet us there at layoftheland5. And if you are viewing this on YouTube, please click on the red subscribe button and join our community. I am a very exhausted Rolene Marks, as we all are in this country, especially people in the south and Ashkelon who've really borne the majority of these rockets. And I wish you a safe and a healthy weekend. Shabbat Shalom, and we'll chat again next week.